Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. In this episode, we're going to connect up fuel onto the line that we're currently running on to send it over to the cargo hub, which we can then send out to other cities in the area. So, if we come out of here, we can see right here is the fuel refinery, and we'll need to connect it up to this train line here, and then it'll follow along all the way around over to the cargo hub. It might be a little bit of a roundabout way to get there, but it'll save on efficiency and we won't have to lay a bunch of extra track through this mountain here that would just create more issues later on down the line. So the first thing we need to do is get oil to come here. So, like we mentioned in the last video, we're going to bring oil from this oil well here down by boat to this oil refinery, where we'll then send it by plane back up to Akron, where we can then send it by truck to the fuel refinery and then by train send it around on this line into our resource hub. That seems like a lot of extra steps, but I do believe it's the most efficient way without creating a bunch of new roads and different connections. So over here at the oil well, we'll want to create a connection and make sure it's connected to the oil field, which right here it will. And then over here at the oil refinery, we will need to create a new road so that this one can connect up to whatever cargo harbor we place down. So this can fit right along here. We actually might not even need this road. This might just be able to reach far enough back where it'll connect automatically. And then we just have to build a shipyard, and we should be able to get oil running on here. So we'll take a look at our boats, and I think obviously this one's the best one to use. It's the newest, probably the fastest, and carries the most. So we'll take 3 of those. Alright, so now our ships are bringing out, or are coming out, so they can bring oil in. And the next thing we need to do is figure out how we're going to fit a large cargo airport in this area. Now we can get it to fit in like this, but we do want to make sure that it can still connect to the oil refinery there. So let's drag this road straight across. This area is already pretty flat, so there's probably not much we have to do. And then we need to make sure that we can get it close enough so that it can connect. We might have to delete some of these roads. And it looks like we can just fit it here where it will connect to this oil refinery. So now all we have to do is create a line between there and the airfield up here at Akron, and then we can start sending it over to the fuel refinery. So we've definitely unlocked quite a few more airplanes since we last used them. And I believe I do have some aircraft from the Steam Workshop, just so that planes are a little bit more reasonable to use. Such as, I believe this one I got from the workshop. This can carry 66 instead of a lot of these other ones that can hardly carry over 25 units in one trip, which simply isn't too realistic. So if we take this aircraft here and we get 6 of those, we can then put them on a line from Victorville up here to Akron. And so we'll clarify what we want it to take with it, just so it doesn't start to get all mixed up. And we can see the planes begin to come out. Now I will add some more cargo terminals, just because we want to make sure we have enough storage here with all of the oil this is going to be producing. We want to make sure we're not losing any as it sits in the airport. So, coming back up here, we have this truck stop, which we can then use to send trucks all the way over and around to this fuel refinery. So we'll need to bring a road over from here, and we can connect it right up to this existing intersection. And we'll probably want to extend this highway so that it continues to bypass the city and connect up somewhere over here. So now the trucks won't have to take these roads that are starting to get more congested. Instead, they can cut across using this highway here. Alright, so now we need to add a truck stop of our own, which we can put down over here. I don't want to put it on this side because I think this is where our train station's going to be. So we can place that down like that. And somewhere here is a road depot that we can then get a couple of trucks running on. So we'll see how we do with 12, and we'll run this line from this truck stop over here to the fuel refinery. And then yet again, we'll make sure that it's doing exactly what we want, so only loading oil, and then over here it's not loading anything at the fuel refinery. Although, now that I'm looking at it, we do have this highway, and it actually might just be easier to send the fuel by truck to the cargo hub. After connecting it, we do have a pretty straightforward route up to the cargo hub here, and I think by truck it would even be quicker than bringing it by train. So what we can do is we might still add a little bit of a shortcut. Let's see if we can upgrade this road. Unfortunately, we can't. But what we can do is just bring another 2-lane road across here, and we can try to get it so that it'll connect up nice and easily to our highway over here. So now we have a pretty straightforward route to the cargo hub, and it sort of bypasses all of this stuff here. And maybe even some of our other routes will begin to use this. So we'll do the same thing. We'll buy a couple more trucks. We'll maybe do 14 because this is a bit of a longer route. And we'll make a new line from the fuel refinery up here to the cargo hub. And we'll make sure this comes into its own lane. And already we're starting to get pretty full out here. We might need to start expanding and thinking of ways to ease up traffic if this starts to get too busy. So we'll set up our line the way we want it. And pretty soon we should start getting fuel in here once demand ramps up. Alright, so now that we have a lot of our routes set up, we now have food, construction materials, tools, and fuel available at this cargo hub. We can now begin connecting those up to some of our other cities around here. So, I think one that we'll want to hook up to is Garden Grove, because that has 2 of our new resources, as well as tools, which we also have available to us. And we'll create a separate cargo train station over here. We'll make sure it's large enough, well, 2 tracks, high speed, and just line it up along here. And then we can connect up the tracks just through this little mountain route here. And I think we'll bring it out of this platform. And we might be able to just have this connect up in one move here. Although it says there's too much slope, which worries me. It might be too steep to get up here. So that's an interesting problem we now have to figure out. So I think what we're gonna have to do is really lower this area. So we'll come in here and just create sort of a huge pit where we can then level out the ground and hopefully get a more reasonable slope, which we can then even out in the future. Alright, so we were able to get this to work. We did have to lower this down a significant amount. So what I'm going to do is come through, make this look a lot better, and connect up a road, and then we'll be back when we're ready to connect up all the trucks and stuff to ship out into Garden Grove. Alright, so this is sort of the area where all the cargo will come in for Garden Grove, and all we have to do is place down some of our unload stops. So we'll want one right in the middle of where all the tools are going to be, and then I think at the moment food and fuel can share one at the moment. So we're going to need to find a spot for a train depot. And actually, first we should finish connecting up this path. So we'll break this off here, bring it around, and merge it back in over here. And then we won't need too many signals as this is a very short line. We'll probably realistically only have one train running on here at the moment. And then I think we could just get in a train depot to connect up. Now we can build the train that we want. And I think as usual, we'll go with this, the EMD SD42, and we'll pick out the sort of right ratio of cars that we'll need. Alright, so this is going to be the train that we need. We don't need too much capacity for food and fuel. It's largely going to be tools on this line. So we can see this connects up just how we want it. And again, we'll want to specify fuel, tools, and food. And then in Garden Grove, unload everything. And we can see our train coming out here heading over to the cargo hub. So now we can place a road depot right here and get a few trucks on this line. So we're not going to need too many trucks just because this is such a short drive and a short train trip. So I think we'll get about 3 for each of these lines. So we'll get one that services the tools. We'll get another one that services food. And then we'll get one last one that services the fuel. So now as these trucks go around and start to ramp up demand, we should begin seeing food and fuel begin getting shipped to our cargo hub here. So coming over here, we can now see we have some full food starting to build up at the station here. And I'm not too sure if we'll get any yet here, although it looks like we are, as this truck has 2 fuel it's carrying. So Garden Grove is probably going to begin rapidly expanding as it's now getting resources it wasn't having before, and that'll be an interesting challenge to tackle by itself. So in the next few episodes, we'll probably start expanding to Santa Clara, Cedar Rapids, and we'll connect up fuel to Akron, although we might be able to just do that with a direct line out of the fuel refinery. But that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.